Chapter 12. The next year was a busy, happy time at Glenbard. Word of the new city spread quickly. Every day, children called up from the street to a rooftop sentry. "Can we join your city?" A committee of 3 would emerge from the heavy door under the protection of the rooftop sentries. The committee would ask, "Who are you? Where did you live? Why did you leave? What gang did you join? Who was the leader? Why did you quit?" All of these questions and several more had to be answered. Many were turned away, not for lack of room, but because no one in the city knew them, or because someone in the city did know them and said they couldn't be trusted. The committee wouldn't take any chances. Craig was the most skeptical of the 3. He asked hard, tricky questions like, "Do you know my good friend Tom Logan?" The unwise child who thought any friend of Tom Logan could get in had to leave. But many new families were taken in, and the city changed. There were crowds of new citizens who brought their own ideas. By summer, there were 90 kids at Glenbard. By September, the classrooms had over 300 students. The population kept growing. On January 16th of the next year, almost 400 citizens jammed the rooftop for the evening celebration. They shouted challenges to the armies who threatened them from below. By the end of April, 19 months after the plague, Glenbard's population was just over 500. Some of them thought that the girl who owned the city was very odd. "How could a girl own a city?" they asked. "Why should a girl own a city? People don't own things like cities." Others just disliked her. "What does she do for Glenbard?" they asked. "We hardly ever see her." But they knew that she was not idle. It was rumored that she only slept every other night, and that she still worked by candlelight in the dark tower chamber. "What a silly thing," they said. "There's no need for that anymore." During the day, however, Lisa did make her presence felt. She inspected the kitchen, gave orders to workers who were getting new rooms ready, sent her trucks to secret supply places, and settled arguments between the citizens. Most of the children admired her and liked her strong way of doing things. She always seemed busy, and though she did not smile or laugh very often, they could tell by the way that she moved that she was happy. "You'd be happy too if you owned a whole city," someone said. But Lisa was finding it wasn't easy running a city, especially one growing as fast as hers. There were problems every minute of the day. "Lisa, we're out of fuel for the torches," Charlie might tell her. She would answer, "Well, I'll add it to the supply list. It'll be here tonight. How much do you need?" Then there were not enough books. "Go get them from the Lombard School," she'd decide. There was a big fight in the West Wing. "Bring them to me." Room 110 wouldn't be ready by tomorrow, and the Wilson kids were getting tired of living in the gym. "We'll get someone to work through the night. We promised to have it ready." The leaders of the city always seemed to be one step behind the problems. Still, it was exciting. They had great fun at their meetings, laughing at the funny things that had happened each day. They teased each other, but grew to be friends. "You're not going to believe what Lisa did today," said the construction manager. "She gave us drawings for the family rooms in the south basement area and forgot to put in any doors in 3 of the apartments. This place is all confusion. You know what it's like to build walls without nails? It's not easy, but it's even harder without wood. Where can we get some lumber?" There were lots of problems, but the council had plenty of help. The new children brought new skills to Glenbard. They were happy to be free of gangs and starvation. For many months, the problems seemed challenging and exciting. "Planning is the secret," Lisa said over and over again. "If we can anticipate problems before they happen, then we'll all succeed." They had never run a city before, and they learned most of their lessons the hard way. But they seemed to be making enough right decisions. Things were going well. Soon Glenbard would be full. "Not bad for a year's work," Lisa boasted. And then she admitted what was also true. "A year of very hard work," she said as she studied the tired faces of her assistants, Craig, Jill, Steve, Todd, Charlie, and the 6 new council members. Glenbard's defense plan was the biggest success of all. There had been 8 enemy attacks, and none of them had lasted more than 10 minutes. Boiling oil in the face had a way of making a gang leader choose other targets. There had been attacks by 7 different gangs. 6 never tried a second time, but Tom Logan tried twice. He dreamed up a clever plan for the second attack, but it wasn't clever enough to beat the rooftop soldiers who scarred his face with the burning oil. Charlie wondered if revenge would bring Tom back a 3rd time with his 150 soldiers. Charlie was turning out to be a good military leader, but he was worried about Logan. "Lisa," he said at one council meeting, "I think he's going to be back. Tom's no dummy. We've got to watch out for him. For some reason, he wants to get us. Charlie, you worry too much, she said. Looking at Craig, she added, you generals are all alike. They both looked back at her. Craig said, Lisa, you don't worry enough. Later that night, alone in the tower chamber, Lisa thought about what Craig had said. Maybe he had a point. They couldn't take any chances. Logan could have spies in Glenbard already, and even if Tom gave up, there were plenty of other gangs. The city had to be prepared. She'd discuss it with Charlie tomorrow. They would figure out some new plan. Maybe a walking army of their own was what they needed. After all, they had 510 people, or was it 518? She couldn't keep track anymore. They wonder why I seem so strong. They think I'm something special because I run my own city. Don't they see that it's fun and that any one of them could do it too? All you have to do is look at the old worlds for the clues. There are hundreds of books that tell you how to do it. Then, in a harsher tone, she said out loud, you know the truth, don't you? You're still a kid just like the rest of them. How did you get yourself into this? You're scared to death, aren't you? And tired, too. She tried to think of tomorrow's problems. It didn't work. The citizens wondered why she sat in this dark room. They called it her chamber. But she couldn't leave the room or change it in any way. It was the only place where she could really think. Then thinking became too hard, and she decided to inspect the roof sentries. She went outside. The fresh air felt good. It cleared her mind. How does it look tonight, Jody? She was glad she remembered the sentry's name. Looks just fine, Lisa, but you'd better tell Charlie to do something about those dogs. I dropped my stone a few minutes ago, and there was no barking at all. They must all be sleeping. Maybe we've been feeding them too much. When he turned to look at her again, she was peering over the wall. Jody, come here and look. The dogs do seem to be sleeping, but it's not right. You can't feed them that much food. There's something wrong. Something is wrong. Sound the choir alarm and get the militia up here now, she ordered. While he passed the word, she ran to the other end of the building. All the dogs were just lying still. I'm going down to see what's the matter, she called to the nearest sentry. Get some kids with rifles over here to cover me. Here, help me with the rope ladder. Todd, is that you? She'd forgotten that her little brother had sentry duty on the rooftop this night. On her way down, she realized her mistake. If there was trouble, why was she going down into it? But it was too late. She was on the ground. She went to the nearest dog. Its body was cold. She ran to the next. Dead. She knew they had been poisoned. She started to run for the rope ladder, but her path was blocked by a boy with a hideous scar on his face. Let me by, she ordered, but he was not from Glenbard and he grabbed her. She bit him until he screamed. 2 soldiers rushed to his rescue and grabbed her by the arm. She couldn't move. Let me go, sentry, she shouted to the roof. Pull the ladder up quickly. Lisa, the boy with the scarred face said, it won't help you to fight. I've got 200 soldiers surrounding your lousy Glenbard. It was nice of you to drop in, he laughed. Don't you recognize me with my new face? I'm Tom Logan. Your boiling oil trick won't work tonight, Lisa. Your city is not your city anymore. It's ours now. So relax. I don't want to hurt you. For a moment, he seemed almost kind. But she didn't believe him. She fought him, and somehow she broke free and ran. Stop, Lisa. We'll shoot. Stop. Lisa, we don't want to. Those were the last words she heard. There was a deadly pain in her somewhere, and she fell silently near the bushes. Who did that? Logan shouted. I told you not to shoot until I gave the order. See if she's all right. A soldier studied her body and came back to Tom with his report. I think she's dead. There's blood all over her head and she isn't breathing. Tom shuddered. In all his violent days, he had never killed anyone. He knew it was a mistake, but would that really change anything? Why her? He wondered for a moment. Don't shoot until I say so, he shouted. Tom then shouted a bluff to the sentry above. We've got her. We've got your leader. So don't throw any of your junk down here or we'll kill her. And I mean it. Open the big door. We're coming in. The doors opened slowly. The armies of Chidester, Elm, and Lennox Streets filed into Glenbard. They took over the city without resistance. They had the guns and the girl who owned the city. You see, boasted Tom Logan to his captains, I knew it would work. Wasn't I right? Now he was the leader of the city. Tom's soldiers were everywhere. The citizens of Glenbard were frightened and helpless. Their lives had been changed into a nightmare. Where's Lisa? Craig demanded. Tom bluffed again. We're keeping her below in a safe place just to make sure you don't do anything stupid. We'll kill her if you try anything dumb. Tom turned to Craig. You're the next in command, aren't you? Well, go tell your loyal citizens that their home sweet home is under new ownership. Go ahead, tell them, and while you're at it, tell them not to try anything dumb. Remember that we've got Lisa. Craig had no choice. He turned Glenbard over to Logan without a fight. The girl who built the city was suddenly powerless, a captive, or worse.